This song, Taylor, I Knew It, I Knew You. Once again, you have proven that you are, in fact, a menace because what did you put in this song, girl? Hello and welcome to Queen Things, the show where we talk about the things that matter to us queens, because if it matters to us, it matters. I'm your host, KJ Miller. I'm a founder, a lecturer, a content creator, and I am ready to get into today's topics because we have so much to talk about. Obviously, the Summer House reunion finale. We do need to talk about part 3, but there are a lot of other things I want to talk about. First of all, Taylor dropped her new song, I Knew It, I Knew You. And yes, I want to talk about it. I have a lot of feelings about that song. I also have been seeing this Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift conversation reach a bit of a fever pitch online. So I want to talk about that a bit. And I do want to talk about Ariana Grande. Obviously, she launched her tour, the Eternal Sunshine Tour, and many things have been said about it. I will say I personally have been served a lot more content about her weight than about the tour and the set list and the songs and the fashions, which, is concerning. I do have some thoughts I want to share there and maybe a few other things along the way right after our announcements. Okay, so a few quick announcements. Number one, yes, this is a new wig. And I don't think I have done it exactly right. I haven't done all the things that need to be done. Let's just take a look in the minted mirror. Hashtag minted mirror. I'm still learning, okay? I'm still learning all the who's its and what's its. However, I like this style of wig, the kinky straight. This is me in my natural form. It's lighter than the curly one I've been wearing. That wig, I love it, but it's a lot of hair. It's very heavy. This is light, okay? I feel like I'm living in the breeze, honey. So I'm going to get better at the application and everything, but I like this wig. That's announcement 1. Announcement 2, if you haven't signed up for the Patreon, I got to plug it. Last month I did an Ask Me Anything. You guys had some really good questions. Some were juicy, some were more on the professional side, and I answered them all. So that was last month's. There's lots of bonus content. I encourage you to join if you like hearing me yap. What else? Oh, announcement number 3 is I turned 40 on Sunday, June 14th. Yes, 40 years old. Can you believe it? You don't have to answer that. I'm sure you can believe it, okay? This is not me fishing for compliments. I am sure I look like I am about to turn 40, and I am. So I'm perfectly happy about that. I'm excited. My husband has a surprise plan for me. I mean, it's a dinner, but I don't know where. And then I'm doing a kickback with my friends, chill, low key. I love a birthday kickback. But then the big 40th celebration is actually happening in a few weeks. My husband and I are going to Napa with some of our friends. So that's the big shebang. This weekend is going to be more chill, which I like. I like a little chill and then I like a little shebang. But I am turning 40. So yeah, it's happening. And that concludes the announcements. Let's get into it. So where do I want to start? The question is, do I want to start with Summer House or do I want to end with Summer House? I think I want to end with Summer House. So I want to start with Taylor this week. We've done so much on Summer House and it's where I've kicked off the last 2 weeks. Let's switch it up. Let's start with Taylor. This song, Taylor, I Knew It, I Knew You. Once again, you have proven that you are, in fact, a menace because what did you put in this song, girl? I have been singing it nonstop. I'm sure my 5-year-old is like, Mom. Actually, she calls me Mama. Mama, are we just going to sing this song only for the rest of our lives? Because I just walk through these halls just, I knew you through the days of the blades of the grass in summer. Parachutes. I mean, I can't stop singing it. And I love the running a wild. Oh, that line in particular. Those 2 lines. Okay, so the parachutes for the free fall of being younger. I think that line is so brilliant. I don't know if I've ever thought about childhood as a free fall, but when she said it, I was like, yes, because, I think about my daughter now. It almost is a free fall because when you're a child, you just have to, and I'm sure this line is landing differently for all of us. But when I think about my child, in so many ways, what makes it click for me is it is a bit of a free fall. She just has to trust that her dad and I will catch her trust that we will have her. We will always pick her up. We will always make sure she has what she needs, the food she needs, the roof over her head. And because she does trust that, she can fall into anything, any interest of hers, any idea that she has. I mean, let me tell you something. We were in Pittsburgh this weekend, and we were at a restaurant. We were with our friends. We were at this restaurant where they have like this nice little green area to just sit out at while you're on the patio, or if you're 5, to run around in. So she was running around with their kid, who's 2. And we said very clearly, her father said very clearly at the start, you have to stay on the green grass, okay? Because outside of the green grass is, the subdivision, like with the restaurant, patio, other restaurants, like, a lot going on. He said, you have to stay on the green grass. Okay, so at one point during lunch, she starts running across the green grass, and we're like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. She gets to the border, looks us dead in the eye, okay? And keeps running. I mean, now she's shooting past, like the patio of the restaurant. Who knows where she was going, okay? Looked us dead in the eye. Then my husband ran and got her. But to me, it just, the free fall of being younger is so apt, because she's like, someone's going to catch me. So let me just go on and do what I'm going to do. She has to test every boundary. She has to see, what does this life have for me? Let me just fall back into it and trust that somebody's going to catch me. I mean, that lyric, my God, Taylor, okay. And then the other lyric, and by the way, parachutes for the free fall of being younger. I'm the parachute. Hello. Love it. Okay. And then that line, memorize the sound of your bare footsteps running wild. Oh my God. Because don't you just remember when you were little, like knowing the sounds of your friends, whether it was their bare footsteps or the particular way they played chutes and ladders and slammed their pieces down, or, exactly which part of the playground they were going to run to first, because that was y'all's part. Like, just little things you memorized about your friends and were so comforting. God. Sometimes she says things in such a way that just is so immediately nostalgic and puts you in a time and place. This song both put me in the time and space and place of my childhood, but also of my daughters immediately. Who else is doing it like that? Who else is doing it like that? This is what I'm talking about with Taylor. This is why she's a menace, because this is a song for a children's movie, okay? But now I'm crying, but also I'm laughing. It really got me. And then, of course, I made a video about this on socials about all the instruments she brought back. How long have I been saying on this very show? How long have I been saying we want the instruments on this show, on this YouTube channel? I literally, in my TikTok, played a clip of me saying on YouTube, bring back the instruments, Taylor. And she did. And she found some I hadn't even heard of. A Celesta. Somebody in my comments said it's pronounced Celeste, like it's French. I don't know. The point is, I had never heard of this instrument. It looks like a piano, but apparently the sound it makes is more like a ding, 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 ding. Again, this is what I have picked up from Google. I have never even heard of some of these instruments, Taylor. She said, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. What's that? Yeah, bring that one too. Had Jack Antonoff working hard. Fantastic. Such a joy to listen to. Such just so pleasurable. I really love the song. I cannot stop singing it. It is making me excited to go see Toy Story 5. And frankly, I don't know if I really was going to. I've enjoyed all of the Toy Stories. I have seen all of them. But once you put a 5 on something, it starts to feel like, okay, we're doing a lot here. Toy Story 5. But now I feel compelled. I feel compelled, so I will be seeing it. Thank you, Taylor. And since we're talking about Taylor, let's go ahead and talk about Olivia Rodrigo. Okay, so if you didn't see, a couple weeks ago, Olivia Rodrigo did an episode of Popcast, I think it's called, the New York Times podcast, where they talk about pop music. And she was asked, as she sometimes is, about the beef with Taylor. Should I play a clip? I mean, I'm sure you all have seen it. Maybe let's play a quick clip.
Is there a frost between you and Taylor? Like, is that something that hovers over your mind? Is it something that you think is a construction of the people who are doing internet detective work? How do you view that now that you're a few years removed from the initial kind of like ruptures?
I don't know. I think I tried to not let it like get to me or upset me. I think I just try to keep it trucking. I think it was so long ago. I think there's no use in like harping on it. I just try to make songs that I love and try to be kind and good to other people and supportive of other people. And I've always like tried to be like that. And at the end of the day, I think that's all you can do.
All right, so that was the clip. And you can hear the journalist asks, is there a frost between you and Taylor? Is that something you still think about, whatever? And Olivia's answer was, I honestly try not to think about it. It happened so long ago. I try to just focus on making my music, being kind. And there was another sort of way they asked this question or something related to it when they were talking about like how the internet likes to play detective. And likes to assume like, oh, this is about Taylor, or you're upset about this still. And what I have seen some Swifties do is essentially get mad at Olivia for not directly saying there is no frost, not directly saying I'm not upset, basically not putting it to bed. I've also seen some people say they're upset that her team even let that question be asked, because she's big enough and powerful enough that if her team had stated ahead of the interview, we don't want any questions about X, that would have been respected. Like, she could have made that a condition of her interview, and it, presumably would have been respected. I will tell you, as someone who is a Swiftie, but also really enjoys Olivia Rodrigo's music, that doesn't upset me at all. Nothing about her answer upsets me. I do not think that she should have to not be upset with Taylor Swift over that situation. I think it probably did upset her. I am someone who, was late to the game. I know there are two songs. The only song I recall the beef about, or the issue, was Deja Vu and Cruel Summer. I'm someone on this very show listened to both songs and felt like the resemblance was slight. Is it there? Yes. Was it slight? Yes. Do I think there's much more of a resemblance between Taylor Swift's song Would and Jackson 5 ABC? Yes. Right. So I could certainly understand being in Olivia's shoes, not being a fan of how that all went down. And I think in an earlier interview, she did say something to the effect of like, I wasn't really involved in it. Decisions were sort of made, and then it just sort of happened the way it happened. I think Taylor also would be upset if someone came to her. Clearly, she doesn't think Would deserves any sort of like credit to any other song, right? Or else she would have given it to that song. So if someone came to her, if the Jackson estate came to her and said, actually, it is too similar and you need to give us this credit, I think she would be upset by that. Like, I think it makes sense that Olivia Rodrigo was upset about that. And I don't think she owes it to Taylor or anyone else to say, like, I'm not upset. I think her answer was basically, it's not something I think about anymore. But I don't think she owes it to Taylor or anyone else to sugarcoat it or to try and make it seem like it wasn't something that impacted her. Like, what? Wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't it be weird if a songwriter didn't feel a type of way about her songs having to be credited to other artists if she did not feel like that was something that needed to have happened? Wouldn't it be weird for her to not be upset? I have never heard her say not one bad word about Taylor. I have never. And so if she were out here talking shit about Taylor and people were upset, okay, but you're upset because she is not trying to make it seem as if she was never upset about this thing. No, I don't get that. And I certainly don't align with it. I think she's allowed to be upset. I think any artist would be. But I think she also has moved on and is saying so in the interview. And I don't think it's something that she has to, because what I've seen Swifties say is the reason she didn't make it off limits in the interview is because she's still cashing in on that beef with Taylor. It helps her to still have this beef with Taylor. And so she won't let it die. And I just don't think that's true. I think her team not insisting that any one topic is off limits honestly makes her feel more authentic. Like, yeah, whatever it is you want to talk to me about, I'm willing to talk about it. I don't see a problem with that, frankly. And this is a real thing that happened to her between her and the biggest pop star in the world. If she still has thoughts she wants to share about it, she's allowed to. You know, it did happen. It is a real thing that happened to her life as an artist. Like, I don't know. I don't think she's being like super shady. I don't think she's being clinging to this thing that happened in the past. I think she had feelings then. I think she's allowed to talk about it if and when it comes up. I honestly haven't heard her talk about it that much. I feel like other people around her talk about it more. But I'm not mad at that. And I'm looking forward to her album. So that's what I have to say about that. And now I want to turn my attention to Ariana Grande. I will be very honest. It's hard for me to talk about this topic because obviously the topic of weight is so fraught. And I've spoken about it with my own weight and the own weight loss journey that I've been on. I've spoken about it as it relates to celebrities. Like, it's very fraught. And so I never want to not give it the weightiness that it deserves in terms of talking about it, if that makes sense. But we're having so many conversations online about Ariana Grande. People feel so comfortable and confident in diagnosing her with an eating disorder, and people's comfort in that and confidence in that, I do find that to be a bit jarring. That said, she is very visibly thin, extremely thin, much thinner than she used to be. And she was always a thin woman. And I find that somewhat jarring too. So I understand people noticing it, and I understand people talking about it. And I can understand the perspective, because what a lot of people have said is this isn't coming from a place of judgment. This isn't coming from a place of wanting to hurt her. It's coming from a place of concern. Like, we are her fans. We love her. We want her to be healthy and happy. But also it's coming from a place of concern for our daughters and young girls and women who are seeing this woman who is incredibly thin and somewhat frail looking and internalizing that and potentially saying to themselves, this is the standard I need to reach, and not wanting that to be a standard that is put up on a pedestal. I understand both of those perspectives. I just also get nervous at the idea that, like, we can look at someone, just look at them and be confident in diagnosing them with anything. That makes me nervous, because here's the thing. Number one, like I said, she's always been very thin. And Ariana 10 years ago, that level of thin to me always read as very thin. Not, I think she has an eating disorder thin, but very thin. And so why does very thin of 10 years ago not cause concern, but the very thin she is today cause concern? I understand she is thinner, but do you see what I'm saying? I guess what I'm saying is, where in the spectrum does someone get to be thin-wise before it's an issue, right? And then why do the internet sleuths get to choose what that point is? And like, not her doctors, not her team, but like you with your iPhone get to decide good, not good. that I think that gives me pause, because it's like, okay, so what if that definition shifts? I just, and I feel the same way on the other end of the spectrum. Oh, if someone's thick like Megan Thee Stallion, thick like Beyonce, thick like Cardi B, we love it. It's voluptuous. It's amazing. But how many pounds more before you feel like unhealthy, right? And again, why do you get to be the judge of that, the arbiter of that? I think that just feels uncomfortable to me. And I don't want to discount the concern about promoting quote unquote unhealthy body image. But that's what a lot of people said about Lizzo, right? We're glorifying obesity when she was doing no such thing. She was quite simply just like existing. And I have not seen Ariana in any way, to me, glorify her thin frame. I was talking about this with my husband. Like, I haven't seen her pushing a diet plan. I haven't seen her pushing an exercise plan. I haven't seen her saying like, everyone should be a size 00 and you'll feel even better about yourself. She's not like these girls of skinny talk who are always trying to tell you how to keep weight off. I have not seen her pushing her frame, her image on anyone else. So this idea that she's quote unquote glorifying this image simply by existing, again, is something we also heard people say about Lizzo. We've heard people say about people in larger bodies. And it's like, but she's just existing and we don't know what she's going through. And if she does have an eating disorder and you are concerned about that, is it your opinion that the best way to help with that particular disease is to talk shit about it on the internet? Like, I don't know. I'm certainly not an expert in eating disorders. I would never claim to be, but I would imagine that would not be super helpful. I don't know. It just gives me pause, I guess is what I'm going to say. I do understand people saying that they're concerned. I do understand, thinking about our young girls not wanting anyone to feel the pressure to be any particular body weight or size. Not just super thin, but any variation of a body. Like, I don't want my daughter to feel like that is the standard I have to hit. Whether it's an Ariana Grande, whether it's an Olympic athlete frame, whatever it is, whether it's a Beyonce or a Meg Thee Stallion, I want my daughter to feel beautiful exactly as she is. And I just don't know that I can get behind the idea that the best way for us to help my daughter and other young girls feel positive about themselves is by policing a particular person's body. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking my thoughts on it. Would love to hear what you guys think, but I have really been taken aback by just like how confident the people of the internet seem to be in diagnosing this woman and saying all sorts of things about her body and relatively little about this tour that she has put up, which from the clips I've seen, she is killing it. Like, vocally, she sounds amazing. People are saying, oh, she lacks energy, but I don't know if that's what I feel like I'm seeing. I will say the clips I saw of night one, yes, when it came to the choreo, it did not feel as like sharp, like 100% together, but it was night one. And if you look at night one of Renaissance Tour versus like night 12, you will see a difference. If you look at night one of Era's tour versus night 12, you will see a difference. Like, it does make sense that the first show, you're still getting used to the choreo. And she's doing choreo in insane heels, by the way. That's honestly what I'm nervous about. I more so than the body. I'm like, girl, are we sure we don't want a chunkier heel for this? Just a little bit lower and a little bit chunkier. I would be freaking out. I know that's her thing. I know when she tours, she likes the stilettos. That would freak me out. But I don't know if what I feel like I'm seeing is quote unquote low energy, particularly because on the parts where she's not as choreography heavy and she's singing, she is giving it so much vocally to do what she is doing. I want you to know she might make it look easy. It takes a lot of energy. Okay. So I don't know if it's reading as low energy to me. To me, it could be nerves. It could be this is my first time doing all this choreo and I'm doing it in sky high shoes. And it's just going to take me a minute to get fully into it and fully comfortable with it. I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses for her. I'm just saying like, that's sort of how it's reading for me. But we don't know. And talking about it as if we do know, again, makes me a little nervous. Oh, I guess the final thing I want to talk about, I did mention Lizzo. Before I jump into Summer House, is Lizzo's new album. She released a new album. It's called Bitch. It came out last Friday. I have not listened to it yet. That might actually be this month's bonus, maybe a review of Lizzo's album. But I think honestly, what's been in the news more is sort of everything she has been doing to promote the album and all of the talking she has been doing about why her album is not being properly promoted. She said a few weeks ago, basically like my label isn't promoting this album, so it's on me. And then from then has just been really pushing on TikTok every day. There have been, videos of her going out and putting up her own posters all along New York and in other cities, like little, you can call them kind of gimmicky things like that. We saw Cardi B do similar stuff like that. But also very much talking about how it's on her because she doesn't have the label support. She spoke about how the reason she's not as popular now is because she was always historically more of a radio darling. And now that radio isn't as important, her songs don't get as much play. She's just been talking about it a lot. Here's the thing for me. The clips of the songs that I have heard, and I've heard now at least 2 of them in full. To me, it feels a little untethered. It feels like the music, it's almost like the music is making her versus her making the music. And the reason I feel that way is because I contrast that. Last summer when she dropped her EP, I said I loved her EP. It was pretty much all rap. She sang here and there, but mostly rap. And it was just like, I don't give a fuck rap. And it made sense to me that is how she was feeling in that time. She had been through a hell of a year, maybe almost 2 years at that point. She had scrapped her album. She was feeling like ferocious. She was feeling like, fuck everybody who has put me down, who's tried to cancel me. Let me get in the booth and just do what I need to do. And so it felt tethered to her real emotions. And I loved it. I thought that EP was fantastic. I'm not even someone who listens to rap regularly, but I really, really enjoyed it. This does not feel like that. This almost feels like she's trying to recapture the things she had before, the sound she had before. But it's like, but you've grown since then. We've watched you grow. We've watched you go through this really difficult thing, these lawsuits. We've watched a number of the lawsuits get dropped or the charges get dropped. Are they called charges if it's civil? Whatever. We've watched you drop an album, an EP, and then a follow-up to the EP that quite literally was, I don't give a fuck about this. We've watched your energy change. We've watched you blow up on TikTok. We've watched you launch your Lizzo IRL and create your own little community on TikTok. So much has changed. So for this music to kind of sound like a return to music of yore, Lizzo of yore, I think that could be part of the reason you're not seeing the same numbers. That's certainly why I feel less excited. I'm not excited. I do intend to listen to the album. And like I said, maybe I'll make that the bonus, my review. But it just didn't have the urgency that the EP did when I first heard her drop that verse. Bitch, it's Lizzo. Call me Lizzie. I've been fat and I've been skinny. Bitches still ain't fucking with me. Boom, boom. Like that went so hard. And when I heard that, it felt like, oh, what is Lizzo doing? I need to listen. And what I'm hearing right now, I just don't feel that urgency. And so I don't think she's wrong about labels not pouring into marketing the way that they used to. I don't think she's wrong about the difference between now and, even 5-10 years ago when radio was more important than it is now. Like, I don't think she's wrong about that, but I think we can't ignore the music, Sometimes it does come down to the music, but I hope it's good. I will be listening and I'll let you know how I feel after I've listened in full. And now it is finally time for us to talk about Summer House. Listen, let me start here. We've been at it now for 3 weeks. It's a long time to be watching a reunion. You know, Bravo loves to drag it out, honey. I, as always, will just start with my high level thoughts. It was astonishing to me the number of times on last night's episode Amanda did actually say, "I'm sorry," without sounding even a little bit sorry. She and West both were giving sociopath. West admitted that he had taken a beta blocker. I have to assume Amanda did as well, because I don't know how you can apologize that many times and have it seem so empty. That really was one of my biggest takeaways from last night. Like, oh, we knew you weren't sorry because like you haven't said it up until this point at all, basically. And you clearly aren't exhibiting that behavior, but it just is weird to watch someone attempt to convince you that they're sorry without in any way being convincing. Like when I am sorry about something, I don't know, I sound sorry. I look sorry. I emote. It was astonishing. It was like, and it's almost like she kept saying it angrily. Like, girl, do you understand? Like, if there were any emotion at all, and again, her face was like very blank, the emotion seems like anger. I am angry that I am having to apologize to you because what I'm not is sorry. That is very much what it was giving. It was odd. And if I were in Ciara's shoes and it kind of looked like she was feeling this way, I would just be wanting to get up out of there. Like, I don't want any of this fakeness. I don't believe it. I liked at the end that Andy very clearly said, you know, what's next for you? Because I really can't see you reconciling with these two. And she was like, no, you know, like she just, no, obviously that's not going to be happening. It just, it all felt so fake. It all felt so emotionless. It all felt like, frankly, a little bit of a waste of time. Not the whole reunion, but like Amanda's attempts to apologize just felt like a waste of time. You're not sorry. We all have eyes, ma'am. You're not sorry. That was my biggest takeaway. My other takeaway relates to West and just how small of a man he really is, and how every single person on that stage seemed to have that realization in real time during the reunion. Like, we knew the two of y'all were terrible, but West, like, it could not be clearer just how terrible and how small you are. It very much is giving smallest man who ever lived. When the question was, did Miha believe she was your girlfriend? And his answer was, yes, she thought we were exclusive. As if these two things are different. Like, huh? But also, if she thought that, it's because you said that. I don't know any woman in the year of our Lord 2026 who just assumes she is exclusive with somebody without having the conversation about being exclusive with them. Like, again, I don't have a ton of experience because I haven't dated in my 30s. I've been married since I was 30, but seems to me most women would get that clarification before making that assumption. So if she thought it, it's because you said it, and you said it knowing you were ripping and running the streets. You were hooking up with other girls. You weren't telling anyone in the house, anyone on production that you had this girlfriend. Like, just being truly the smallest man who ever lived. And everyone coming to that realization, Jesse literally saying, I feel like I'm losing a brother, because he's realizing, like, he thought y'all were the same level of fuckboy, and he realized, oh no, you're a different level of fuckboy. Like, I might not have done a great job of things with Lexi or expressing my feelings for Ciara, but you're on some sociopath shit, and I'm not on that. So yeah, I'm glad everybody realized it. And then my third takeaway is from Lindsay Hubbard. You know, I made a TikTok about this, how if it's one thing she's going to do is beat a dead horse, because she literally at the end of the reunion was like, I didn't learn anything. Basically, we need to run it back because I didn't learn anything. Like, what was the point of all this? And then recounted how dumb of a decision this was for the two of them. And she was not wrong. And I would disagree that we didn't learn anything. I think her frustration was after everything was said, what became so clear is that what you guys have isn't worth everything you tore down to get it. You have torn down this friendship group. You have ruined the quote unquote amicable divorce that you were working towards. You have blown up your friendship with someone who cared so deeply for you, championed you for years. You have made everyone on this stage feel gaslit. You have put careers in jeopardy because figuring out what the next iteration of Summer House is going to look like is going to be a monumental task. And who knows if the audience is going to be willing to take that leap with you. You did all of this, but you can't say you're in love. You can't say that it was worth it. All you can say is you're trying to figure it out. I mean, West at one point said, I'm trying to get back to how it was. You mean how it was before everybody knew, when you were still chasing her, when it was still secret, when it was still the beginning of the relationship. So what you're saying is you like the part where it's like fun and new, but now that it's not that, you don't like this part. But bitch, this part is the real part. This is real life. You blew up everything for something you're not even sure you want long term. I think that was her frustration. We've been sitting here for hours and hours and hours, and neither one of you can even say if you want this long term. Yeesh, you know? And I understand her frustration in that. I do. I'm just reviewing my notes, deciding how much of this I really want to go over beat by beat. I'm exhausted by so much of this. Let's just do it. I'm just going to go into some of the beats that I wrote down that really caught my eye. I do want to start where they sort of picked up in the beginning with this idea of when did they actually start this relationship? Because Andy essentially asked Mia, you said on Watch What Happens Live, now that you look back at it, you do believe it started in the summer. And, Amanda and West keep saying, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. They're so forceful. We know what it looks like, but it didn't, whatever. Mia recounts like, what about this time where you were hugging her and had your hand all up in her hair and you're kissing her, on the cheek or whatever. And then you come up behind her, you put her hand basically on her breast. Bravo does what it likes to do. Pauses on that, puts an arrow, hand on boob. Like we all see it, so she's like, all of that was weird. And West finally is like, listen, yes, we were getting closer. That's fair to say. Like we were, but it wasn't physical. And Lindsay sort of to her neighbor is like, yeah, but the emotional piece is worse. And that is clearly what was happening in front of us all summer. And, we all see it looking back. And to me, just like the blatant disrespect being on display in that way for that many months, wild. And for them to anyway attempt to deny that it was happening, like I'm glad West finally was like, yeah, okay, it's fair to say we were getting closer. And then Amanda immediately tries to clean it up and say, but it wasn't romantic. Yes, it was. That's what we mean. And that's what he means when he says, yes, we were getting closer. Yes, that's fair to say. It is fair to say the emotions were developing and you guys were not being shy about sort of following that lead. Mia even said, like, the way you touched her, you wouldn't touch me like that. And he wouldn't, because he knows Mia would never fucking let it happen. Again, he chose the one who would let him do the fuck shit. Wouldn't have been Mia, wouldn't have been Lindsay. Like, you chose the one. Then we get into Andy asking, basically, are you monogamous? West, they say yes, but then West clarifies, we weren't immediately monogamous, like not right after we expressed feelings, but after the statement we were. And I want to flag that because, again, the decision you made to blow up this friendship group, to betray your best friend, Amanda, you did it when this man was still hooking up with other people, quite literally to be one of his side bitches, to quote Mia. It's just so embarrassing. Oh, and I do want to talk about what Kyle said about Amanda. I do want to talk about this, where he basically said to West, you've now put her on an island. Now she has no one, and you did that to her. So like, what is your plan? I thought that was one of the most husbandly things I have ever heard Kyle say. It's clear he genuinely cares for Amanda. I'm not saying he was a good husband, but it is clear he cares for this woman. When she has done this to him, embarrassed him this way, hooked up with someone he considered a real friend, as he said, he was texting West and telling him about like their sex life while he was out in Miami with Amanda, like doing romantic dinners and whatnot. Like the betrayal of it all, but he still cares enough about her to be like, West, what is your plan here? Because you've like kind of ruined her life. You've put her on this island. Are you going to make it worth it? Are you going to make it worth it? You know, like, and West basically had nothing to say. Oh, that moment was a tough watch, but it really was the most husbandly thing I think I've heard Kyle say. I appreciated the moment where Andy checked West because West kept trying to say like, oh, this got so out of my control. Andy was like, this was entirely under your control the whole time. There was no gun pointed to your head, West. How could it have possibly gotten away from you? You did it. Like, and I love that Andy checked him on that, because that's something that narcissists love to do and sociopaths love to do. Put the blame anywhere else. Oh, it all got away from me. It just all got so crazy. How did it get crazy, West? Explain. How did it get crazy? Did it get crazy when you were flirting with Amanda relentlessly all summer on camera? Did it get crazy when you turned to her and said, hey, am I crazy, or is there something here? Is there a feeling here? Did it get crazy when you decided to hook up with her while hooking up with other bitches? Did it get crazy when you agreed to put out that whack ass joint statement? Did it get crazy when you went on your podcast multiple times to attempt to convince people that you never dated Ciara, when we all saw you date Ciara? When did it get crazy? And who made it crazy? I'm so happy Andy checked him on that. And I'm glad all of them checked, both of them, but Amanda particularly, on the breadcrumbing and bragging about it on Instagram. Her half-hearted attempt to say like, it wasn't about that. Like, yes, it was. Like they pointed out, you did a whole carousel of photos with West in almost all of them. And then the last one was you saying, this is how much I care. She's like, it wasn't related to that. Girl, we're not dumb. We're not blind. We're not stupid. We're not deaf. Like we get it. We got it. Your point was made clear. The one truthful thing I believe we heard Amanda say was when she said to Ciara, you do not deserve a friend like me. And I'm glad she knows it. I'm glad Ciara knows that. I'm glad every single person on those couches is aware. Ciara does not deserve a friend like her, because with friends like her, who needs enemies? Someone who would betray you like that, someone who would stomp on your heart like that, someone who would sit here for the last however many hours and attempt to downplay the shit that they did. No, you don't deserve that. And I'm glad Amanda realized it. Maybe the beta blocker started wearing off by that point, and she finally started to have a little bit of sense and emotion to see, yeah, I really fucked up a true, genuine friendship. Or maybe she didn't, and she just thought like this was the right thing to say. Who knows? She doesn't seem like a good person to me, but either way, what she said was true. Whew, I will be honest with you. I don't even know if I want to go into more of the beat by beat, just because I feel like what needs to be said about this has been said. Unlike Lindsay, I don't think we got nowhere. While I do understand her frustration, I think it's very clear that nobody on those couches trusts West or Amanda. No one respects the decisions that they made. They don't respect their friends. They don't care about the people there, despite the number of times West tried to say, I care about the people in this room. And Lindsay literally yelled out, lie. Because how could you? Like, you don't get to just say, I care. Caring about someone means you act in a way that is caring, that is respectful. Like, so you don't get to just say it. And it's, I think everyone walked away very clear about all of that, about all of it. The good news here is Ciara last night dropped a cover article with Harper's Bazaar. because as always, she's going to have the last laugh and look the best doing it. So let's end with some of her words. Yes, let's end with the goddess, the ethereal queen. The title of the article is aptly, All of America Wants to See Ciara Miller Win. And yes, we do. Subhead, the reality star survived heartbreak, was blindsided by betrayal, and endured it all in front of the entire world. Now she's seeing things clearly, taking her narrative into her own hands and making her next move. So early on in the article, they say this: the betrayal plotline has dominated this season, with Black women seeing it for exactly what it is, the somber realities of being the only Black friend. Everyone's always there for Amanda. She never has to be there for anyone. She is always the damsel in distress, always the victim, Ciara says. In the 6 years, I don't think she's really ever had to be there for me. And not that a friendship is based on reciprocity, but it's now really clear that there was no type of reciprocity on her side. I tried to hang out outside of filming, check on her, speak life into her. And we saw that during the reunion where they brought up like multiple times where Ciara was texting her, checking in, inviting her to hang out. And Amanda would not only not attend, but just like straight up wouldn't answer her. Oh, this is interesting. I did not know this. The article says, this isn't the first time a white woman has failed her in friendship. In nursing school, Ciara and a classmate would have sleepovers and study dates. We were thick as thieves. But when the classmate got married, she invited every girl from their class to be bridesmaids except Ciara, the only Black friend. Ciara then says, now after the Amanda betrayal, I'll wear my armor differently. And I'm happy we're talking about race in this article. Who wrote this? I'm going to guess a Black woman wrote it. Let's see. This is by someone named Tahira Hairston. Yeah, sounds Black to me. Sounds Black to me, because a Black woman is the woman who would say, let's talk about the race of it all. And I love this paragraph. Ciara is handling it all, at least publicly, like someone well-versed in trauma bay. She is, after all, a former ICU nurse. She's taking sardonic jabs while collecting checks. A Sonic drive-in commercial where fellow Bravo star Ariana Madix helps her get rid of her extra baggage ran during the Summer House reunion. So did a scary movie promo where Ciara tells a spooky story about a man with a scary mask who snuck into her best friend's bed. She's booked and busy, a spot on Dancing with the Stars, a co-hosting gig for Love Island After Sun, the Met Gala, and Euphoria red carpets. After our interview, she heads to France for the Cannes Film Festival and plays a badass cowgirl in Shabuzi's new music video. Yes, honey. She truly is booked and busy. Every time I look up, she is in a new commercial, a new brand partnership, a new deal, a new red carpet, a new interview, a new magazine cover. And that's what we want to see. We all said as soon as we found out this news, she better get the Ariana Madix treatment. And she definitely has, and then some. I don't know. To me, maybe because I watch Summer House more religiously than I watched Vanderpump Rules, it feels like she's getting the Ariana Madix treatment, but like times two. I really feel like I cannot look up without seeing her. The thing is, what I know is she deserves it. Like, we've all watched her be so smart, so compelling, so charismatic, so funny, and ready for this moment, you know, and I'm happy she is ready for this moment that she has found herself in. Ooh, I love this. Like a true Capricorn, she's clear and measured in what she's saying and who she's saying it to, opting out of crisis-managed notes posts on Instagram stories and instead speaking her mind in glossy publications. That obviously was shade towards Amanda and West in their dumbass, whack-ass statement on IG, but also very much a shout out to Ciara, who quite literally is basically just giving interviews to magazines at this point. Oh, you want to talk to her? Hope it's Vogue. Hope it's Vogue. This is important. Take note. It was in her rewatch before the reunion that Ciara saw West's chicanery. I didn't realize how much he hated me, she says, in reference to a revealing scene where West tells her he resents her for the way the internet held him accountable. On screen at that moment, she apologized for not being there for him. Now she realizes this might be the reason he's dating Amanda. As revenge. He hates you, and so does she. They both were envious of you. They both were jealous of you. He blames Ciara for the way people think about him. Amanda hates Ciara for being prettier and funnier and cooler than her and also commanding respect from Kyle. So for both of them, this was perfect. It was perfect. Perfect revenge. They do get to the subject of whether or not she's returning. The writer says, when I ask her if she'll be on the next season of Summer House, she tells me she's not sure yet. Ciara will be in Fiji for her 5-week gig as the co-host of Love Island After Sun. Then in August, she'll be filming for Dancing with the Stars. I'm going to get back in the gym. I'm going to start running. I have to work on my endurance, my core strength, and really prioritizing stretching. I'm treating this so seriously. Tonight, the final part of the season's reunion aired, and like the rest of us, Ciara is keen to take a minute to revel in the calm after the storm. I wanted to leave it all on the reunion floor, she says. It was cathartic in a way to just be able to say what I needed to say directly to people's faces and feel like I could close the chapter on this. Well, good for you, Ciara. I'm happy that you have closed the chapter on this. I do hope we will see you on Summer House. I'm not a Love Island person, so I won't be watching that. But I would like to see you on screen. So I do hope you come back. But mostly I hope you do what's best for you. I think the way this article said it, we're rooting for you. We all want you to win, and you are out here winning. I hope that winning streak continues. I hope it's not a streak. I just hope it's your life. I think you deserve every happiness, and selfishly, I hope part of that happiness is back on Summer House. And that is it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you sign up for Patreon so we can talk about things together over there. I hope you're having a good summer. If you'd like to wish me happy birthday, I wouldn't be mad at that. 40 and flirty, honey. Flirting, obviously, with my husband. That's it for this week, and I'll see you next time.